.357 Magnum versus 9mm with the Critical Duty line. Interesting thing about these is they're both 135 grain projectiles. This is a 9mm plus P. This is a .357 Magnum. Now I've already chronographed the .357 Magnum in the past. I got a 5-shot average of 1,295. The 9mm is rated at 1,115, and I'll hit the chronograph with it and see if those numbers line up. And what I got today is my little ballistic box. If you don't know anything about Critical Duty, it's different than the Critical Defense line in that the lead core is harder than the Critical Defense. It has antimony in it, which basically is like a hard cast lead. So what you got is you got a harder lead than average, and you also have a thicker jacket than average. So the whole point of Critical Duty is to be able to punch through hard barriers. So in my little ballistic box here, I've got 18 gauge steel, same thickness as like a car door, and then we got some wood, and I got some carpet on here, try to choke up that hollow point, and then we'll go right through it and see what it does to these water jugs, and then we'll hit some wood as well. And we'll see how the 9mm compares to the .357 Magnum. So let's get started. Alright, let's see what kind of chronograph numbers we're going to get with the 9mm plus P. We're about 6 yards from the chronograph. 1,062, 1,056, 1,057, 1,055, 1,061, 1,057. That is some very, very consistent velocity. I like that. However, we're not hitting 1115, so barrel length was probably something like a Beretta barrel that was tested out of. So let's see what happens when we hit these water jugs and wood and see how it compares to the .357 Magnum. Alright, let's hit the ballistic box here. See if it goes through this hard barrier and if it hit these water jugs. So let's see how the 9mm does. We went through the 18 gauge steel and through the wood. Here's the first jug. Doesn't look like it did a whole lot to that first jug after going through that barrier. Here's jug 2. Got a center hit out the back of 2. Looks like we're going through 3. And we got the projectile in the 4th jug. And here we are. We did get some expansion. It's not incredibly large, but the jacket stayed on it, and it did go through. And it did have some expansion. It did slow down in jug 4, which is pretty good. That's actually pretty ideal. Jug 4 is pretty equivalent to 12 inches in ballistics gel, so I'd say it performed pretty well. Let's see how the .357 Magnum compares. All right, here's the .357 Magnum Critical Duty. We'll see how this does. See if it can beat that 9mm. All right. Definitely a little bit more damage to the first jug and to the second jug. Jug 3, we got a hole at the back. We got a hole out the back of the 4th jug, but there's no damage on the wood, so it looks like it almost came out the 4th, not quite. So just a little bit more than the 9mm. Alright. What we're seeing here is a little bit more damage than what we saw with the 9mm. So it penetrated a little bit further. Here's the 9mm. Penetrated a little bit further and had a little bit more expansion as well. So let's see what happens when we hit the wood. Alright, here's some 2x4s. I'll hit it kind of high, see if we can shove it, how far we'll shove it. We'll see how that compares to the 9mm to the 357 Magnum. Right, here's the 9mm Critical Duty. That was cool. Alright, here's the 357 Magnum Critical Duty. We caught both of them. Both in there. I can see one of the bullets right now. And we can see right here the difference. This is the third board. 1, 2, and here's 3. That 357 Magnum has really split that board open. And like you would expect with the Magnum, we're getting a good amount of damage there. The 9mm is just coming out the back of the second there. So, just like with everything else, we got a little bit more with the 357 Magnum. So, comparing 9mm to 357 Magnum, these are both lightly loaded rounds, I would say. A little bit less performance than I would expect with either of these cartridges. A 135 grain, we got about 1050 on the 9mm and about 1300 on the 357 Magnum as far as velocity. Those are both a little bit low. However, in this test, we got just a little bit better performance with the 357 Magnum. So that's how they compare. So as always, comment, share, and like, and thanks for watching.